Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us here on the Rangers Review on the pre-match show as we build up to Club Brugge versus Rangers in the second leg of that Champions League playoff. I'm joined here by Chris Jack, rather, who is out in Bruges at the Jan Breydel Stadium. Chris, how's it going?
You've got a night off to a brilliant start there, Blair. Hopefully that's the last mistake that we make for the evening. Welcome everyone to the tightest press box in all of Europe. It's a wee bit tight, it has to be said, but hopefully it's going to be a successful night for Rangers. I have my doubts whether it will be or not, but time will tell how this is going to unfold. It's certainly a team and a starting 11 that will provoke a wee bit of reaction, as I can already see in the comments.
Well, some massive team news to bring you. Let's get right into it. Here is the lineup for this evening. Jack Butland in goals, a back four of Max Aarons, Nasser Giga, John Souttar and Jayden Migoma. Of course, no James Tavernier in that back four. A midfield of Joe Rothwell, Lyle Cameron and Tello Asgard. Of course, no Nico Raskin there either. And up front, Oliver Antman, Danilo and Jedi Gisama. Some notable people missing from that starting 11, Chris?
I think the most notable one, certainly the one that I've seen on social media since I posted the team about 15 minutes or so ago, and see in the comments, it's one Nicholas Raskin. I think most people would have had him starting tonight. Really surprised that he's not, even just for the fact of coming back to Belgium and playing in this stadium. Perhaps a chance to not prove a point, but a chance to really show what he's like in front of a home audience. I thought he would have been in this side tonight. So a real surprise there. Rothwell obviously gets that nod. Feels like a big night for him. Now, he spoke after the St Mirren game at the weekend about his form and where he was at this season. Safe to say he has to step it up, and this would be a good night to start that particular improvement process.
I'll just bring you the bench. There is a few people asking who's on the bench this evening. It's Liam Kelly, Wright, James Tavernier, Connor Barron, Cyril Dessers, Mohamed Diamande, Fernandez, Nico Raskin, Moore, Gentles, Curtis and Hutton. I think, as you say, Chris, maybe the biggest notable omission from that side is Nicholas Raskin. I thought he was a nailed on to start this evening in that number 6 position. I think he's probably our strongest option in that position. I wonder if that is it a case of maybe Russell Martin is keeping his legs for the weekend, or is this now we see Joe Rothwell as he's Russell Martin's favourite starting number 6?
I think people will hope that it's a case of Raskin just being held on until the weekend. I think he should have started tonight. I would also have played him on Sunday as well. Now, there's every chance he comes into that midfield on Sunday. It's a big call. Now, Raskin is a fan favourite. We see it almost every show that we speak about him. We see the esteem that he has held in by the Rangers support. But Joe Rothwell's a man that the manager has spoke a lot about, who clearly has a lot of faith in. So it's maybe not a surprise that he picks for the biggest game of the season so far. That he picks Rothwell in there. But as I said there, it feels like a big night for him. He needs a performance, and I think the other big talking point, another man that really needs a performance is Max Aarons at right back, because Josh and myself spoke about it on the briefing this morning. We would have both had James Tavernier in there, and Russell Martin has decided otherwise.
Yeah, a really big call for Russell Martin to make there. I think we were at the game in Paisley on Sunday. James Tavernier really did seem to make a difference when he came onto the park. I thought he was another one that he might have brought in from the beginning tonight. He might have just used that leadership qualities to help Rangers try and pull some sort of result out of the fire tonight, because this is, make no doubt about it, a salvage mission for this tie. I think many Rangers fans are coming into this one thinking it's already dead in the water, so it's going to really need to take a lot of big performances and a lot of big characters out there this evening, and that was one of the main reasons why I thought James Tavernier might have got the nod tonight. But he's given Max Aarons another run out at right back, and as you say, Chris, if you're looking at it from an optimistic, a positive standpoint, it's another chance for Max Aarons to prove himself to the Rangers support.
The PA system came on just as you asked that question there, Blair, but I did hear the words Max Aarons So I'm assuming that's what you're asking me, so that's what I'll speak about. I've said the last few weeks, I don't think there's a lot between him and James Tavernier in terms of the form and who the best option at right back is. I think a lot of the conversation around James Tavernier, it focuses on what has happened in previous seasons rather than what has happened this season. That's why people don't want him in the team. It's another show of faith from the manager in Aaron's, but I'm not convinced that's really merited on form. But maybe he sees James Tavernier as the better option for Sunday. Maybe he sees Raskin as the better option for Sunday. Maybe he sees Cyril Dessers as a better option for Sunday, and that's why Danilo has got the odd.
You just touched on that point there. I was coming to Chris. Cyril Dessers, he is a player that I think everybody would have preferred to see in the starting lineup. I seen Russell Martin's press conference yesterday. Obviously, you were out there at it, and Russell Martin was fairly straightforward with his answer. He said that Cyril Dessers is fit and he is ready to start. So a surprise for me that he isn't in the starting lineup. I think Danilo has really flattered to deceive so far this season. I think obviously Rangers are going to need goals tonight. I think Cyril Dessers, like him or loathe him, is a player that's always produced goals, especially on big European nights. He can often pop up with something. So I'm quite surprised not to see Cyril Dessers given a nod from the start. It may be he's just not quite fit enough. Maybe the manager isn't quite 100% and he's maybe saving him for later on in the game because he could foresee this going the full distance, maybe into extra time if Rangers do manage to pull off a result over in Belgium.
If Rangers are going to do that, they need to start well. They need to ideally score early. They need to give Bruges something to think about. If Bruges get to half an hour, if they get to half time and they're still comfortable in this tie, it's really hard to see Rangers doing anything. So they're going to have to start well. They're going to have to score early if possible. It's a front three that has potential in it, but Rangers just haven't. Clicked. Oliver Antman admitted that in the press conference here last night. Rangers have not clicked in that final third. They really need to do it, and need to do it in quite some style tonight.
Yeah, very much so. You said on the show this morning, Chris, talking about this lineup, and would be able to tell quite a lot about Russell Martin's state of mind when we've seen this starting 11. If you're looking at that on paper now, does that suggest to you that Russell Martin still thinks this tie is alive? Because he said as much yesterday at the press conference. His words were, "We still in the group very much believe that this tie is alive." Do you think that's a starting 11 that says to you he believes Rangers can go over there and get a result tonight?
I think a lot of people will say no because I was seeing the comments when you pulled a couple of them up to see on social media. The guys that we've just spoken about there, I think people would have liked to have seen Tavernier potentially, certainly Raskin and certainly Dessers in the side. But as I spoke to Josh about this morning on the show, Russell Martin, he almost had to say that yesterday. He couldn't come in and say, well, actually, this game is a bit of an inconvenience and we could really do without it, and I'm just going to play the B team. He had to try and find some way of giving his players and his staff and giving these supporters a bit of belief as well. He needs to give them something to actually buy into. I think it looks like a side that he believes can come and get a result. There's a number of new signings in there as well, so it's a big. This is the type of occasion they were brought into play in. So I think he does believe that this tie is there still to be won. Personally, I don't see it. I think Rangers will be. I think they'll find it a real struggle tonight. I think Bruges showed in that first leg that they are a really good side. Rangers really have to improve from what we've seen of late. And it's almost even if you don't win the tie, you don't get through tonight. You need a performance. You need something that you can then take into Sunday and build on and give you something a wee bit to. I think that's a wee bit of momentum. So even if Rangers don't go through, there's still a lot at stake and a lot in play.
Well, Chris, we'll leave it there. I'll let you crack on in the world's smallest press box. I hope you have a wonderful night out in Belgium. We will, of course, keep you updated across all of the Rangers Review social media channels as the game progresses. And join myself and Josh Barry, who will be back here on the final whistle for all the full-time reaction. Thanks for watching.